Okay, we're going to add a little bit of value to another apple. I know some of you probably are kind of tired of apples, but it won't kill you. It won't kill you. Alright, so I'm gonna, you don't have to copy this outline exactly. You can shape out your own apple however you like. But the apple I'm looking at right now has a little bit of personality. A little bit of bumpiness here and there. So, there's the outline. Now, what I want to do is I want to start to map a few details on this apple, which are going to show kind of where the light is. And, like for example, let's put that in place first. And then over here, there's some area where there's going to be some light. Can you guys hear my 2-year-old screaming? That's not my favorite sound, especially now when I'm trying to record. Okay, so there's that. So there's going to be a reflection area here. And then the stem's going to sit right about there or so. Something like that. And then I'm just gonna keep mapping in some areas where there will be shadow and light. So this is gonna be like a map of those things, the shadow and the light. It's gonna look kind of weird at first, but it'll all make sense when we start to add the value. Too far on that one, took my eyes off of it. All right, and then there'll be some shadow underneath. Something like that. So now we've got a map where we're going to start putting some values. Put some areas that are going to be lighter, some areas that are going to be darker. And so, like, for example, we're going to use, not much of this apple is going to be as bright as that, but there might be some areas, but we're going to use something like kind of like this for a couple places. So let's just start right here and just apply a very light value like that. And let's do something similar in this space over here. And you can just use hatching lines, or you can try to approximate the contour lines. Okay. Yeah, so I think this actually is going to be like a highlight, and it'll be as bright as that. And then there's an area back here that is almost as bright, so that might be like a highlight area too. And then this section over here is going to be kind of somewhere in that range. So we'll do like cross hatching there, like that. All right. Then back over here is going to be very similar to these two. And that for now I'm going to leave like that. I may change that later. But then this area, there's a shadow being cast from the stem, and that's going to get into the darker values. So I can crisscross that a few times. Try to make it look sort of like something in that range. All right, and then a few other dark areas and some light areas. So down here, it's a little bit darker than these two. So let's do the cross hatching on this part first, so I don't forget which is which. And then we'll go. Now again, you don't have to just stick to strict cross hatching, but you can. You can kind of follow the contours of the apple a little bit if you want. All right, so now we'll come over into this area here, and down around here it's going to be a little bit darker. So let's start here. And I'm going to cross hatch a couple more times. Okay, you see how it starts to show the form and the light? And all we're doing right now is hatching and cross-hatching. We'll come back over. I'll probably darken that a little bit more, but I want to fill in some of these other areas a little more first. So, what shall we do? Let's do... keep that as a kind of an area of reflection. And then let's do this area that's going to be similar to that one. erase. I went over too far when I did this one, so I'm going to erase this. Because I want this area over here to be a little lighter. And I'm going to make one more section over here. This will be pretty similar to that one. So there's kind of do 3 on this one. So this, and this are pretty similar. And then we just want to leave an area over here that's kind of like that. And then it continues down here. And then there's a darker area and then another lighter area. So this is going to be similar to that and that. And then these are going to be dark. We're probably going to get even darker than it is right now, but got to start with something. Too heavy here, but all right. And then over here, it's going to be a tone in between this and this, kind of like that one. Okay, something like that. And then again, down here, it'll be kind of like that too. There we go. All right, now there's a couple things you can do once you get to the point where you kind of decided where your tonal areas are. You put some hatching and cross hatching. You can blend this. And kind of make it look a little more real. We're not quite there yet though. We've got to put something in this area, and we've got to put some value on the stem itself. So let's go down here and put in some dark, and then let's go over here and put in. So this will be lighter, kind of like that, and this will be a little bit of darker, kind of like that. And then back there is, I'm still, see there's somewhere between there and there. All right, what about the stem? Well, let's put some dark value in the lower part of the stem. Have our shadow. So let's make 2 areas of shadow, one darker than the other. This is going to be the lighter area. this edge of the apple down a little bit more. And I want to do some more cross hatching on this part of the shadow. This can be a little darker now too. Okay, now I want to darken some of these central areas a little more to make the darks and lights a little more pronounced. So I'm adding a layer of hatching to this one. So you see how just these shapes can kind of help you figure out where the darks and the lights are. And then the fun part I think I want to go ahead and do, which is to see what this looks like when we kind of blend it a little bit. And you can use a piece of paper, you can use your finger, or you can use a tortillon and kind of blend. A couple places where I think I need a tiny bit more color value first though. Let's put some more here. A little there. Maybe a little more back here. Okay, so I'm going to start in the lighter areas that have less lines, and I'm just going to just a little bit of blending, not too much, because I still want to kind of see the lines there. Just to let ourselves know this is still a drawing. We're not really doing photorealism. We're doing an application of value using hatching lines. So I haven't touched the white of the paper areas yet. I may blend those in a little bit. See if there's any other super light areas before I go to the mid-range areas. Okay. Yeah, there might be some more, but let's just jump into the mid-range area. And so I'm just blending a little bit these hatching lines here. All the way down. And which other ones do we want to do next? Let's do these. See how the blender really can darken areas quickly if you're not careful. So if you don't want it to get too dark, just be careful, because there's graphite on this thing now, and it's no longer a neutral tool. It's on the side of the graphite. My graphite's gonna win on the paper. to get too dark. And the other thing I can come do is go back over these and darken them a little bit if needed. So, all right, so let's do this one now. And then we'll go into the darkest spots. All right, so I've kind of blended out a few places, and now I can blend a little bit more, or I can come back with graphite and darken some places. Like, I think I'll do that. Just put a little more lead in a few places, a little more graphite in a few places. One thing that makes art interesting is the contrast. That's the difference between light and dark. If there's high contrast, there's a wide range of difference between the dark and the light, and that can make your drawing really striking. But sometimes you have to be careful with it, because it can also sometimes make your drawing look funny. But you know, one person's funny is another person's beautiful. So it really just depends. Okay, so I'm gonna blend between the edges of some of these places where there's highlights, and I'm gonna even pull some of the graphite over into the highlight area. I'm gonna leave some of it as the white of the paper, but I just wanna have like more of a blended look in a few places like that. Sort of blend some of the darks and the lights. Sometimes you want a real stark contrast when there's light shining. Sometimes there's a real clear, distinct line between the light area and the dark area. So you have to be careful when you do this, because you might overdo it. But the apple is also one thing, so it should look like it's like some of these lines that we're differentiating the areas of light. You might want to blend them out, or not. I mean, it's your drawing, so you can do it you think looks good. And sometimes I don't like doing this, and sometimes I just kind of enjoy it. So blending is a skill you learn by doing it, and sometimes you have to make some mistakes while you're doing it to learn the trick. Okay, so I think I'm about done. Here a little bit, then on the stem a little bit. Down some of the edges a little bit more. Should I blend the shadow? Yeah, I'll blend the shadow. So I'll start with the outer part. That's supposed to be lighter. And then I'll blend the darker part. See how it gets a little smudgy? You gotta be careful with soft lead and blending. Sometimes you gotta use your eraser a little bit. Make that darker again too. All right, so it's not the prettiest apple you ever saw, but it's a demonstration of how you can take value and locate it on something that you're drawing in a kind of precise, specific way. So hopefully you found that sort of interesting and helpful.